In this video, I want to give my impressions of modern Muslim culture. So for some context, I am Korean American and I decided to travel around Central Asia. I visited the capital cities of the four stands: Almaty, Kazakhstan; Dushanbe, Tajikistan; Tashkent, Uzbekistan; and now Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. And come here, I actually didn't know these were Muslim countries because as an American, we have a strong aversion to what we're told in US media. And the past month of just interacting with locals, people watching, these are the positives I found about Muslim culture. In this video, I'm not going to cover everything, but one thing I do want to cover, one thing that is very obvious, there's kids everywhere. And the society has this very healthy attitude to, the culture has a very healthy attitude to having lots of kids. But there's no religious undertones. It's more subtle than that. Let me first go over the American mentality. In America, there is an unspoken stigma if you have multiple kids. If you have more than one child, there's a stigma. People, for example, one of my coworkers, he had 3 or 4 kids. And there's always jokes about, oh, he's having another kid again, right? It was like this stigma. There's nothing ever positive said about that situation. It wasn't celebrated. And it was like this shameful thing to do. It implied that you were a selfish person that can't control your desires. Like, it was inherently a selfish, bad, sinful thing to do. That's what the attitude towards migrant workers from Mexico. One of the stereotypes is like, oh, these illegal immigrants are gonna come here and they're gonna have so many kids and we're gonna have to support them using our tax money. It's just part of the American narrative. Here, there's none of that toxicity. None of that. Here, every girl that I've talked to, they have this Disney-like dream of saying, ever since I was little, I wanted 2 or 4 kids. Even that answer, she's like, not 3, not 5, 2 or 4. Because I wanted to be boy-girl and boy-girl. I wanted to be even balanced. I want them to play with each other. And there's no stigma in having 4 kids here, right? It's actually quite celebrated. And again, this is completely separate from religion, right? So these were people that I've been chatting with. They don't really practice Islam. They don't actually practice Islam. This one particular girl, she likes eating pork. She doesn't go to the mosque or anything. Despite that, she had that mentality, that backdrop, having lots of kids is a good thing. And it's a beautiful thing. You know, I totally agree with it. You'll notice every single one of my videos where I'm at a restaurant or a cafe, there's children crying, there's children screaming in joy, etc. It was especially loud in Uzbekistan. I think that's the city that is growing the fastest, right? You hear those screams, right? It just becomes like background noise, like cars honking, and it doesn't bother anyone. It's a joyful sound to hear. And just like looking around, there's so many kids. Versus in the US, I think has, because of the mentality that you need to focus on your career, you need to get married and have dual income, and that's only possible to align with if there's certain economic booms. The population boom tends to happen in cycles. For example, baby boomers that happened because, well, was it due to the war and the post-Great Depression economic miracle, right? Only then, Americans en masse produced the next population. Versus here, across the stands, I notice it's just children they're just coming in at a steady rate constantly. I don't know, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. I really wish countries like the US, I really wish this was a mentality that the US could somehow develop. This isn't just the US. It might also explain the population decline in Japan and South Korea. I would describe South Korea, Japan, America, basically any Western country that has a domestic consumption, capitalistic economic model. They all suffer from this mentality of you cannot have children until you are responsible enough, fiscally responsible and ready enough to raise one child. What happens is we get educated, we go to the best colleges, we get a corporate job, we spend years climbing up the ladder, both men and women climbing up the ladder. The problem is, by the time you're 35, that's been your mentality the entire time, so it doesn't get better. This feeling of, I'm not ready yet. It's each year, you keep on raising the bar. You're 35, if you're one of these alpha boss girls in corporate, well, you're 35 and it's kind of too late, right? I mean, Yeah, you can freeze your eggs, but why does that have to be a thing in the first place, right? It's, it's kind of bizarre, right? And I want to emphasize again, this has nothing to do with religion. Take the religion out. It has to do with something about just that mentality. I think fundamentally, at least with America, it comes down to being a domestic consumption, capitalistic economy with like Western standards of social media and trying to do status signal through material goods and ostentatious wealth. Which is here, it's, I don't know, it's just, I hope that made sense. This has been on my mind for the past month and it's been difficult to articulate it, and I wish I could do a better job explaining this, but I just had to get it out there. That's still on my mind. Because there's a lot of other things that's wonderful about Muslim culture, not the religion, but the modern, secular, tightly regulated, moderate practitioners of Islam. See, that's how little I know about it. It's these people they have values that are very conducive to raising a family, and it's beyond being feminine. Being feminine, that's at the individual level. There's like this deep social backdrop, something that's just bigger as a society. They have this mentality that makes it very conducive and celebrated to produce life and form a harmonious culture. And as an American, you hear this, you're thinking, oh, Chris has been radicalized. No. Let's take the religion out. Come visit one of these stands and just chill and notice just how high integrity the people are, how warm and welcoming, and it is so much safer, so much welcoming than walking around New York. That's just scratching the surface of it. I could go deeper, how there's different schools of Muslims, how there's differences between secular states and theocracies. That's very important, by the way. And the things that the government, since it's a secular state, the things that the government are doing to prevent radicalization. No one's more afraid of Islam than these governments. One more interesting insight before I end this video. These Stan countries, they're all relatively new countries. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, they are all under 33 years old. They are new countries. And these countries, they are definitely afraid of becoming like, I can't mention those countries, I think it will get banned. You know, the bad type of Islam. Every year, they pass some law to tightly regulate. Tajikistan, for example, that's the most conservative stand I've been to. And my God, the government is aggressively passing laws. For example, they've outlawed hijabs. They can't use the head covering in public anymore. And you cannot attend a public mosque until you're 18 years old. And that's Tajikistan, the most conservative stand. There's no one that fears the bad kind of Islam more than these stands. So anyway, I'll continue making these videos as I figure out how to articulate it so I don't ramble as much. I'm sorry that I'm rambling, but I'm not a sociologist, I'm not an academic that travels around to study the cultures, and I hope by watching this you'll have a bit of an open mind and possibly visit one of these stands and have one of the greatest mind-expanding culture shocks in a mind-expanding way. Because what we know in the US, we know nothing. We really know nothing. We think China is bad. We think the Chinese are spies trying to take over the world. We think Mexicans are all illegal immigrants trying to scam the US system by sending everyone over. And we think all Muslims are bad. Right? We think, well, let's not get into that. Anyway, until next time.